So to show our pop-up here in our code, let's go to our main activity. So the idea is when we click on our floating bar, or floating button, I should say, I'm going to get rid of this because we don't need that for now, or comment that out. So what we're going to do here is we're going to call a method that will then open our alert dialog. Okay, so I'm going to say create pop-up dialog. Obviously, we haven't created this yet. Say create method. There we go. There we go. So we have our create our pop-up method there. So it's empty now. But before we even do anything, I'm going to create a few instance variables at the top here. So the first thing I'm going to add here is the actual alert dialog. So I'm going to say private alert dialog as such, and I'm going to say .builder. I'm going to invoke that interface builder here and call this builder. Okay, you'll see in a second. See, I'm going to create private again, then alert dialog, the actual alert dialog, and I'm going to say dialog. So there's two classes that we have to derive from to create the alert dialog. So we have the builder type, which is going to allow us to build the actual alert dialog, and then we have the class alert dialog, which has methods that will allow us to actually show the alert dialog. I know your head must be hurting right now, but once we go through it, you will see that it's not as hard as it sounds. All right, so we have that, and what I'm going to do here also, before I forget, I'm going to say private button, and I'm going to say, well, let's import that, say save button. We should see that how all pans out. So inside here, I'm going to go ahead and set things up. All right, and the next thing actually is I'm going to say private edit text. Remember, we created all this edit text that we need to actually get so that we can do things to them, right? The first one is enter item, quantity, and so forth. So let's get all of those. Baby item, private edit text, item quantity, private edit text, item color, I believe, private edit text. Let's see, what else did we add there? Size. Okay. Item size. Very good. So we have that there. Very good. We're going to be using that inside of our pop-up. Coming down to our pop-up here, this is where the magic starts. So the first thing we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and instantiate our dialog builder. So I'm going to say builder that we created at the top there. We're going to say instantiation here, new alert dialog builder as such, and we have to pass this because it needs the context. The next thing I need to do here is, of course, get our pop-up XML here. Well, our pop-up XML here needs to be inflated so that we can make it a view, right? An object, Android, Java view, so that we can do things with it. All right, so at this point here, I'm going to just invoke the view class. You notice this code, if you've been following us along, is very similar to when we said layout inflator. In fact, that's exactly what we're going to be doing, but we're going to use different helper methods here. It's equal to what? I'm going to say get layout inflator as such, right? And I can go ahead and say that inflate, and then I say r.layout.popup, like that. So next, I'm going to just go ahead and pass null because we don't need to pass anything else for the root. There we go. Very good. So now that I have this view here, which we're inflating from our layout pop-up, which is our XML, we have the actual object. In fact, at this point here, I can go ahead and start setting up our widgets that we added, like the edit text and all sort of things that we added. So all of these guys. Very good. So here I'm going to go ahead and say, let's see, the first thing we added, let's say the edit baby item. I'm going to say baby item is equal to, I'm going to go through our view again, dot. So I can't say just find view by ID because I am now going through this view that we created there. Okay, so view that find by ID, r.id.quantity. There we go. I can say baby, I'm going to say item quantity is equal to view by find by ID, r.id.quantity. Say color, item color, view that find by ID, r.id.color, item color. There we go. Item size, view that find by r.id.size. So now we're able to get all that stuff. Looks like I've made a mistake. I have quantity. Yes, baby item. So I think this is baby item like that, not item quantity. Very good. So you see, it gave us those hints to let us know that something is not quite right and we need to fix it. All right, that's the beauty, folks. Very good. So we have that now. That means we can do all sort of things. So now that we have created our builder, so we have our builder which knows exactly how to build our alert dialog here, because we instantiated it. We've pulled in our view, and then we are setting up our view with all of our widgets that we've created. Now, what we need to do is to invoke our builder again. I'm going to say builder, and I'm going to say build@set view, because we can set our view, and I'm going to pass our view. Because at this time, at this point here, our view would have all of these items that we've added. So essentially, this whole view and everything is connected. All right. There we go. But we're not done yet. The next thing we need to do here is actually to invoke our dialog class. Remember, we created two of them here. In fact, we have this builder, and now we have this dialog, alert dialog. Now, this alert dialog, we must, of course, create it, because it is through this that we can create the actual dialog class, which we'll then use to show it. So I'm going to say dialog. I'm going to instantiate it is equal to this dialog builder. I'm going to say builder that we created dot create. There we go. So here we are creating our dialog object, which has the methods to actually show to the user, show the actual dialog. Because now I can say dialog dot show, and there we go. It's going to show. This is indeed an important step. Very good. So at this point here, I should be able to call the create pop dialog instead of on click, which is attached to our floating action bar. And I should be able to see something. Let's save this and refresh it quickly and see if that's going to work. Okay, so nothing failed. Click. And look at that. There is our nice dialog. So I can click away and it goes away, but click there and it has this very nice look there. There we go. So you're able to create a pop-up dialog, which is a new concept for you at this point here. And inside of that, we added all of these different edit text, which will allow us to add text, all the things, right? Now notice the size things here. I didn't specify exactly the number. So we can actually specify that quantity only accepts number. In fact, we can do that just right now. Let's go to pop here. And so inside of edit text here, I can say input type. Look at that. So I can add, say, I want it to be date, date time, number sign, phone, all this sort of things we have here. But for now, I just want it to be a number. And I'm going to do the same thing with our item size, I believe. No, that was item size. I want to do with quantity. So I'm going to say input type. It's also going to be number like that. If you save this, you notice something very cool will happen. Now, let's go ahead and let it run for a second. Let's rerun this. It looks like it has a little glitch there. Okay, if you go like this, go to quantity, look at this. Now the keyboard only accepts numbers. So that's very good because then users know exactly what they're supposed to enter. Okay, that's very handy. So in the next video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to continue building our application here. So we may end up going and start putting together the backend, which is going to be the database, the data models, and ultimately we're going to also create our recycle view. Now about the database, I want you with this information that you have now, you know that this item, baby item, is going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 fields. I want you to create a database. You've done this before, so create a database handler. In fact, you can just copy from previous lecture, previous section, and change accordingly. Okay, you can do this. Create a database, see if you can actually add things to the database, and also at this point you can make it so that you can start adding items to your database, right? So create a database and then create all of the fields inside of a table, obviously. So database and then table and then create all the fields just like what we did before, and see if you can actually start saving items into a database. I'm very confident you can do that. If not, you can go back and rewatch the previous section where we talked about the databases and so forth. All right, good luck. I hope you do it, and I'll see you next.